I have a family. It is the person's family to me with a problem, and I was an enabler. You know, because you want to help this person so much that you will do anything to help them. When you love a person, you in your mind you think, I can't kick them out. I can't be there for them. It is so hard to make that switch in your head.
That's how all these parents feel.
I know, but it's so hard to just switch in your head to be like,
I know, you know.
I'm going to tell you, okay, this is, I haven't talked about this. There's a difference, right? And I found myself doing it too, man. With my son, it was easy because I didn't feel like I was punishing him. I felt like I was helping him.
Yes.
Because he has the skills. And
it was, look, you're going to struggle, but it's okay to struggle. Somehow we've made struggle to be a bad word. You have to struggle. Struggle makes you, nobody's succeeding without struggle.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
By the way, you're fine if your kid comes to you and goes, Dad, I need
yeah, man. Are you trying? Are you trying?
Exactly.
I mean,
are you trying?
Here's my thing. The enable thing, and I fell into it too. You know, my daughter just got out of rehab. And
sorry,
that's all right, man.
When I mentioned it, I knew that was going on, and I was like, you fucking asshole. You ain't shit.
It was, and I look at it, man, and as good a decisions I think I make as a parent, man.
You're a beast, Dad.
It's just hard when your kid is struggling so much for you not to say, let me help you.
I know exactly
because
how you feel, brother.
if you say no, and then I'm like, oh, what, she got to sleep on the fucking street tonight? Well, like, I can't do that. But you're stuck because your brain, as a parent, you know this, right when you have a kid, your first thought is, I have to protect this person for the rest of my life.
All costs. Yeah.
All costs.
No matter what.
So that doesn't matter. I have to get there and save this person.
How old's your daughter, Josh?
She's 26.
And has she always struggled with it?
Yeah, she's always struggled with it, man. You know, her biological mom had the same issues, and I'm not making excuses, and my daughter's had a little rough run of it, and she's a great person, and she's, by the way, through all of this, even with her struggles, never got fired from a job, never lost a job,
first
never
time
got
at
paid
rehab?
rent. First time.
Oh, wow. Usually it's a reoccurring.
But it was the first time she accepted it. But she just got out this week, and she's doing really well. She's, for the first time in a long time, I feel, I hear hope in her voice. But I hear what you're saying. It's hard when that, it's easy for me to tell you, man, here's what you should do with your friend who's an addict. Oh, but for me, with your daughter, it's such a different situation.
I understand. I can't imagine. This guy's a brother to me, you know, and I love dearly.
Well, you guys were fighting earlier, like,
you know.
But
no. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the person.
Oh, yeah, not me. He and I
him too. Though. I hate this guy. Yeah, like him. Josh really live with his mom.
I'm gonna tell my wife you say that. Yeah.
No, but see, so for me, it was
the guy who was struggling.
Yes,
like your brother.
Because it was like, I have PTSD from it, from dealing with like having to call the police, being like, you know, being attacked by this person. I paid for rehab. You know, and it's like, you know, but it was forced. You know what I mean? Like, they have to make the choice themselves. Yeah. So the only thing I could do recently was to be like, I have to remove myself. Like, you don't get my attention anymore.
And I feel like that's not a natural move. Because when you watch Intervention, I know the only thing I know about it now, it's like, once you, the hardest choice you can make is remove yourself, so they can't depend on you for drugs.
Do you know what my daughter said to me when she left? I go, what? She was leaving rehab.
To go to rehab.
When she was leaving
Did you know she had to go to rehab?
We were the ones who insisted.
Did you have an intervention?
It was just a situation where I was talking to Beth. I'm like, we just can't.
It's going down a bad road. And how did you know it was going down a bad road? Because she's 26, so she's like doing her thing.
Man,
you know?
there are some things that I just that's her story that I'm not going to share.
Gotcha.
But there were some things that were really tough.
Okay. Yeah, because you get, I can
really,
just imagine,
really
you get tired of going, you get tired of getting calls.
I can't imagine. I can't.
No, listen.
I can't.
Listen, I'm gonna speak because I can speak just for me because my own experience. You know, because I don't. This is more personal because people know your daughter. You know, who I'm talking about, people don't know, so it's fine. You know, but I'm saying like, you get tired of going to the hospital. Okay, you get tired of going to the hospital and a doctor saying you should never drink again. Okay, and then you get tired of this. You get tired of having hope. You get tired of being disappointed because what happens is you go, oh, they're really doing good. You think this is it. Oh, finally and then you get the call. Such and such is we can't find such and such, you know, or you know that kind of thing. You get tired of like, you know, just dealing with this, and then you start having more bad times than good. Your memory gets filled with, oh, that time you fell down. And
that
you were
person
drunk.
that person that you held on to, the where you would see a spark of that person, that becomes less and less and less.
And let me tell you, the real point for you to really start to open up and start looking after yourself is when you start to go, because at first you make excuses. You go, I don't want to be around you when you're drunk, because that's not you. You know, I know the real you. When you start to realize that this is all them, like they ain't two people.
Yeah, this is 24/7.
They're a person that makes bad choices.
Yeah.
And
so, how's your friend doing now?
It's up and down. Like just went through another episode, but now, like, you know, it's like when you have to deal with like bipolar, and like, that's what all comes from that.
That's what my daughter
yes,
my daughter had it's called dual diagnosis.
Yes.
And so my daughter had the same thing.
I'm dealing with it. Yeah. Because what happens is when someone's an alcoholic, the reasons why they become an alcoholic are the things you need to deal with. Because see, alcoholism, you know, it becomes a thing because they're self-medicating. You know, they self-medicate. So
to get away from something?
Yes, to get away from the pain of whatever's causing. And then like bipolar is a motherfucker, man. And I feel for people that have to be on medication because they hate being on medication. Because then you have this feeling of like, well, I'm not normal because I have to take
medication. My daughter would say it dulls. She was like, I hate this medication. It dulls me down. I don't feel like me. And this is one thing I will tell you. One of the reasons I have hope. When I asked my daughter, I go, we're coming to get you, and we're excited to come get her. And
how long was she there, Josh?
She did 90 days. And
is she married?
Not married. Yeah, yeah. We're gonna put her on the show.
Her boyfriend's a Nigerian.
He's the monster too. I'm
she
sure.
said to me, I said, "What can I do to help you?" And she said, "You can never lend me money again."
Wow.
And that was like, that sounds like somebody who knows.
Now I'm not
because she knows.
I'm not trying to get
She could always come to me for money.
I'm sure both you guys with the rehab and all that, and I have a little bit of it going on. But the problem too is the chances of success in rehab. You look at the success rate. Oh my God, it's not good.
Yeah, because rehab. Okay, they also have a drug called
success rates of rehab.
They also have a drug. It's called. I'm not sure what the name of the drug. It's with a V, and what it does is like takes away the effects of alcohol.
Where it tastes bad, right? After one or two.
And not even just tastes bad. You don't get the euphoria. You don't get the euphoria.
Yeah.
You just get like, you know, you get sick. But what that does is that's basically just.
Did you know that? Success rate's 5 to 10%.
Yeah, I think that is the first time. Like, I think first time in, that success rate is not great.
I'm not saying your girl.
Totally, I totally. We know that going in.
Like when you look at the numbers, like holy fuck.
But the point I'm trying to make is I know where you're at. I get this because it's like the thing is like you get to a point where you if you're a hopeful person, you get to a point where you have to be more realistic. You get to a point where you're like, okay, because that's a realistic thing. You go, no, I'm not giving you money. Like, you know, so you get to a thing where you're like, hey, don't ask me for money because you're not going to get it from me. And then they know, but sometimes your fear is, if I don't do all these things that I want that I'm being asked of, will they not want to be around me anymore? Will it tear up the relationship? Actually, it does the opposite.
Yes. Really? Because I would be worried. Let's say my son, God forbid, had an issue with alcohol. I would be worried if he doesn't get from me, he's gonna be hanging out with some dangerous people doing some weird shit to make that money. So at least it's coming from because he's gonna find it no matter what.
Here's the end of the day. The end of the day is they don't get better until they hit rock bottom. Yeah. So the faster you can get them there. It ends two ways, man.
Dom Herrera's quote was, "Even rock bottom has wiggle room."
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. This is what enablers do. We don't allow them to deal with the consequences of their action.
Yeah,
that's what enablers do. So, like, if your daughter, like, say she's living in her apartment. And because of her addiction, she can't pay the rent, or she about to get kicked out. The enabler goes, I can't let her get kicked out. So let me go handle the rent.
And then she never has to deal with that.
They never has to deal with. No, you have to let her you got to get kicked out.
And somehow in your,
I'll help you move.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to.
But as a parent, but here's the deal.
That's
also,
right.
in your brain, what you justify is this. Well, I'm not buying her drugs. I'm paying for her rent, so that's okay. But what you are tricking yourself into thinking is the rent money went to the drugs. That's why you're paying for the rent.
Correct.
So you are paying for her drugs,
or you're just,
or her drink, or whatever it is, because they know. And addicts are master manipulators.
Yes,
they are that's how and they're survivors. They're
with your daughter, Josh, because she's 26, I'm sure she has her own life, living her own.
Yeah.
And you would see her how often?
That was the thing.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they can hide it.
We knew when we didn't have eyes on her for a little while, or when she wasn't texting us back.
Has it been a problem since she was younger, though? Like, did you see something?
You don't necessarily have to go into,
you don't have to.
I mean,
like it's an intervention episode.
It basically, she's had a rough go, is all I'm gonna say, man.
You know what? That's good enough.
Yeah. She had
because like just to like generally talk about like, you know, it's, you know, when you're close to someone, as close to someone like a daughter, or close to someone how this person was to me.
It's your best friend?
It was someone like, you know, even more than like I say brother, you know, because that's how close he was to me, you know, you know. When you know someone that well, I got to a point when I knew when this motherfucker was drunk.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, and I can even see the patterns like this. It would be like, because this is what happens. They get sober, and they're sober. Then they think, I'm good. And this is what happens. They'll just have a drink, casual drink. It could be like, let's say you had drinks here. She could be here. It's just a simple like, oh, that was good. Then they think, I can handle this.
Yeah.
And I know what happens. Shortly after that, always, there's an episode. It's just like an episode happens. It's like, you don't even know what triggers it, because the bipolar and the thing, you don't know what triggers these people. What happens in their day where they think, I can't make it. And then the pain comes and they can't deal with it. And the only way they deal with it is to numb it. And they numb it with this alcohol. But the problem is the drugs and alcohol, how it affects them, and what happens when they, you know, they get crazy. They do stupid things. They, you know, they hurt themselves. And those things happen. And those consequences right there, we have to deal with them. And then the hard part too, well, this one more thing. The hard part too is you learn patience. Because when they're drunk, you want to be like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you doing this? They ain't listening.
No, they're drunk.
They're not gonna hear. So now I gotta wait a week, like literally a week.
Exhausting.
Because they get off the whatever, and then you have to let them recover, and then they're there. Then there's that clarity that they have, and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry I did this. I'm never gonna do this again. I can't believe I did this. And then you see the person that you love, and that's what you hold on to. But I'm saying to people, that person that was a monster, that's that motherfucker too.
Here's the thing that you have to know, and this is the hardest thing, especially with people that you love. Especially being the people that I know that we are. The feeling of being helpless for somebody that you love is
impossible.
Especially, I can tell you for me, you know, this is somebody that I would give my life for.
100%. And
even that doesn't matter. And it's so tough because since I can have a drink and not have a drink for another 6 months and then pick it up, it doesn't make any sense to me, right? It's harder because I don't understand, just don't do it.
You can't stop.
Right? And so they're helpless and you're helpless.
Yeah. It's a disease.
Yeah, it's really hard. It's really hard.
But if they don't recognize, sometimes people are just at a point where okay, my friend I'm talking about, his other best friend was getting married. All right? And this motherfucker was drunk the day before. What I had to go through to get this motherfucker to her wedding, I'm engaged practically, and I just got to get this ring, but she's fucking terrible. I don't want that ring, I want this ring. Anyway, I told him, I said, you ain't coming to my wedding. If you're not, I'm not talking about sober for a day. I got to know that
sober.
Yeah.
I got to know, or you're not going to be invited. And that's the only thing you could do, because the only power we have is that first of all, you have to recognize we can't solve it.
Nope.
So let it go.
That's it.
We can't solve it. All right. But what you can take away as punishment, I guess is the best word to use, or it's to show like, hey, this is what you're losing.
Repercussions. Yeah.
There has to be repercussions, and the repercussions are you. You know, it's like it's like, nah, you can't see my kid, or you can't. You can't. No, you can't. Hey, we're having Thanksgiving. You're not invited. You're not invited because you're this way, and because they have to feel the repercussions of their actions. Because if they don't feel those repercussions,
keep doing
if you're always saving them, then they don't. They're like, oh, because they find enablers.
Have you gone to
find enablers?
What
man.
a nightmare.
Have you gone to Al-Anon meetings at all?
Can I tell you something?
They did, man. I'm just.
I haven't.
They have helped me.
What's an Al-Anon meeting?
It's what we're doing right now.
It's basically AA, but for people who are
for loved ones
of the addict, and it really does help, man. You sit there.
Perspective.
It makes you feel not alone. It makes you feel not as crazy. You're like, oh, you did the same thing I'm doing. Like it really,
or even just talking about these shared experiences.
It really does.
Because even hearing you say this makes me feel like, oh yeah, I know exactly what you're going through. And you need that support. You know, I didn't go because not that I'm famous or anything. Yeah, I'm not saying, you know, but I just didn't want to be in there and somebody being like, "Oh, Montez, what you doing?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I go to therapy. You know, I've gone to therapy, and it was like it became like a theme of my therapy of talking about like, it's like, why am I feeling like I'm responsible? Why am I? And I realized I was like, this ain't my fault.
Yep.
No,
I'm not responsible for this.
But you're a good dude, and it's in your nature to love your friends and your family and to fix.
So, but with your daughter, was it? I keep going to your daughter, but you can edit it out if you want. But was the group she hang in, are they all enablers, like her friends? Because to me, if I'm your daughter, I'm that person with this disease, and it's like my friends are drinking, like like those are my friends, man.
Yeah.
But I don't have the power to say no. So what am I supposed to change my life completely?
Yeah.
I got 26.
Well, but check it out.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's a fucking nightmare.
She is not the most. She's a little socially awkward. A lot of that has to do with the bipolar and the combination.
Yeah.
And she
trust issues.
So she look, man, you know, her biological mom and all that stuff. She's had, like I said, she had a rough go coming up. And
addiction's inherited, right?
I think you get the chip.
Yeah.
Like you can get the chip. Yeah. But for me,
that might be bro science.
Yeah.
I might have just made
No, that. I do think there is a gene.
Pretty sure.
I do think so. But there are a couple people in her life who were enablers.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, most people aren't equipped. They just think, oh, I can change you.
Who is?
Nobody.
But you know
that's
what? Can I tell you something though? They don't have respect for those people. It's why they chose them in the first place.
Sure.
Interesting.
You know? And so here's the thing.
Addictions do 50% to genetic predisposition.
That's a lot.
Yeah. What I'm saying is don't be one of those people.
Children of addicts are 8 times more likely to develop.
But what I'm saying is don't be one of those people that they don't respect. Because that's why it has to be like, it's like, you know, your friends who know not to ask you for money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's people that are just like, they would never.
They know better.
You know better.
Get the
fuck out my face. Give you money. What's wrong with you? You know what I mean? And then there's some people that they go, when you're trying to get over on someone.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know when you're trying to get over it. And once you get it, you have a feeling about that person.
Yep.
Got you.
Yep.
And addicts are like that.
You know, and by the way, this is kind of full circle for me. One of my best friends ever in the world, who was the biggest addict I ever met, Joey Diaz, left town today. But man, I used to watch him. You know, when he was deep into the coke, that's what his day revolved around.
He was consumed by it.
This is how much money I know I need to buy this amount of coke. And he was the master. I watching him, and he used to be able to manipulate people so well. It was part of his. I mean, he's one of the most charming motherfuckers going, right? But you added that addictive chip, and I watched him for years, and I did learn a lot. And I always thought, man, I'll never. And then here comes my daughter, and I did all the things.
Yeah.
They tell you not to.
That I said
It's hard, man. This ain't an easy
can't
thing.
imagine, bro.
It's hard. It's a hard thing. It's like, just, when you you know what? Just to be on a lighter subject of it is, people, like on a show like 90 Day Fiance, and you see these people that get involved with someone, and you go, why would you put yourself in this situation? And they all say the same thing. I love them.
Yeah.
That I mean, what that does to your brain.
Oh my God.
And what you decide, what you decide to put up with, and the compromises you make.
Yeah.
It's very similar.
Yeah, you're right.
It's very similar. You go, well, I have to do this, and you just go, you don't know. And even though, and outside people are always like, I had my buddy was living with me for a little while, and I had, the other people. I'll never forget this. He's in rehab, going to visit. Some friends came to see him. Everybody's like, and they all looked at. They said, "Oh, great!" But my friends, the friends looked at me and said, "How are you?" Because you got to take care of yourself too. And at the time I was like, "What are you talking about? I'm fine. I'm not the one in rehab, right?"
Yeah,
I get it now.
Yeah,
I get it now. Because it's because that didn't even work. Because like a lot of times, the rehab choice to me has to be. It's the rock bottom, and they have nowhere else to go. When they have to ask for it. Yeah. What do I do? Because you've lost my support. You've lost your support system. You keep waking up in hospitals.
Yeah.
Like, at what point are you going to be like, hey,
what's rock bottom?
Yeah. Do you not want to wake up in a hospital anymore?
Yeah.
But they know if they could just get on the phone and be like, hey, I need it,
Yep.
And what do? That's that heartstring that's hard to deal with. Yep. And that's why Al-Anon, I recommend to anybody that's still listening to this right now is just going to get therapy. It's not a bad thing. We shun therapy, but being in therapy is important sometimes because therapy is not going to solve your problems, but it's going to help you organize your thoughts. It's going to help you analyze the reasons why you're feeling the way you're feeling with an expert who understands and can connect the dots. It's not always about going in there and being like, help me, save me. It's about really having a clear thought and seeing how the dots are connected. And that stuff's important. And having conversations and opening up and just being vulnerable, like how we all have been, even in this moment talking about this, is really important and helpful. And I hope if you're thinking about doing it out there, I would recommend push you to go do it.
Yeah, but when I got off stage at the Laugh Factory, right away you go, bro, I figured out what you look like. I'm like, what? This is in front of a bunch of other comics. I'm like, what? You're like, you look like a Rottweiler who got his shit together.
Oh, you do, bro. Yeah.
Come on, man.
I'm just saying, dude.
Grab that mic, son.
You do. Look, bro, look.